to my channel. I know I'm wearing the exact same clothes as in my last video and actually some of my other videos. I really like this outfit, so I keep wearing it every time I wash it. It is pretty cool. It is a long pair of overalls. If you know me, I love overalls. But anyway, let's get into the video. This is my April wrap up and my May TBR. I forgot what month it is, and I read quite a lot of books in April, and therefore I plan on reading quite a lot of books in May. But in saying that, I am travelling at the end of the month, which means I may not have as much time to read, but hopefully I do, because I always have time to read, because reading is life. First book on my list is the Selection series. It's not actually a book. The first series on my list is the Selection series by Kitasai. I read all the books this month except for the Selection, which I read back in March. So I'm just going to give you like my little what I rated them, and I did a whole review of the whole series, so I'll link it down below for you guys to watch so I don't have to go like too in detail. The first book I read this month technically is The Elite, and I rated this one 3 out of 5 stars. The next book is The One, and I rated this one 3.5 out of 5 stars. Fourth book in the series is The Air, and I rated this one 2.5 out of 5 stars because everyone knows the first 3 books are the actual series and these are just like the added on books that don't really count in their kind of shit. And then the last book in the series is The Crown, and that one I rated 3 out of 5 stars, so it's better than the second one. I just didn't really like the main character, and I know most people don't, so I think most of you can agree with me on that one. And then I also read the companion novel, which includes heaps of short stories by Kitasai that fit in with the whole Selection series, particularly the first 3 books, and I rated this one 3.5 out of 5 stars because I really enjoyed it. I like learning about the other characters in the series other than just America and Maxim, so it was pretty cool to read about Aspen and stuff. The next book on my list that I read this month was A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. You guys probably know I love this book, and I did a review on it on my channel as well. That was my second review for the month, which is pretty cool because I don't normally do reviews, so you can go watch my review down below. I really like this book and I rated it 5 out of 5 stars. It is a continuation of the A Court in Thorns and Roses series, so if you read that, you're going to want to read this because this is the second book, and the third book is out now, but it's a good series and I hope you love it as much as I do. The next book on my list is Tiger Lily by Jodi Lynn Anderson. I've had this book on my TBR for a really long time, like literally like 3 years, because I got it as a present years and years ago, and I finally decided this month I'm just gonna hit it? I'm gonna finally read it basically. And I had a few issues with it because it doesn't really line up with the Peter Pan story we know now. It is a retelling of Peter Pan if it isn't obvious by the fact it's called Tiger Lily, and it's all about Peter Pan's first love from the perspective of Tinkerbell, who also loves him, but she supports Tiger Lily and him being together. What a good friend. But anyway, some of the things didn't exactly line up, which annoyed me a little bit, but I guess because it's a retelling it doesn't have to be completely accurate, and I rated this one 3 out of 5 stars because I didn't love it but I didn't hate it, so it's kind of in between. Another book I rated 3 out of 5 stars is Beautiful Broken Things by Sarah Bernard. This one was actually surprisingly different than most books this way. It is a YA contemporary and it focuses on 2 friends who get a new friend, and they struggle with how their friendships kind of fit together with a third person in, because these 2 girls are best friends, but now this other girls come in and they're kind of like, oh, we're friends, but not all friends, but kind of all friends. And it's like what you experience in high school when you make new friends and you have to figure out your friend group again. Surprisingly, the main character wasn't the one on the outs, because in most books like this, the main character is the one on the outs of these sort of stories where the best friend gets a rift in between them. It was actually the other friend, which is a slight spoiler, but you kind of get that in the first few chapters, and I really enjoyed it, but I only rated it 3 out of 5 stars because it was a bit boring at times. My third to last book of the month is 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. I read this solely because of the Netflix TV show. I'm actually in the middle of watching the TV show and I can say it's more interesting than this book, but this book, as I mentioned in my haul, isn't a good book. I don't think it should be what people focus on when it comes to suicide and mental illnesses. I don't think people should look up to it as a thing you want to happen, really, and I think that's what some people are doing. They're making jokes about tapes and the reasons why the people would be on a tape and stuff, and I don't think that's very funny. I think it's actually it takes the mickey, it just basically makes fun of suicide, and that's not what you should do. It's a very serious topic and it affects people every day of their lives, and I don't like how this book addressed the whole issue of it, so I wasn't the biggest fan of this. I rated this 2 out of 5 stars, especially because it was really boring. I don't know how people love it so much. It's just nothing happens. It's a guy riding his bike listening to tapes and it's just fucking boring, I'm sorry. The second to last book on my list is I Crawl Through It by Joy Asher, and I literally crawled through this book because I did not understand what was happening. This book is something that is very confusing. It is about 4 teenagers who are struggling with something that has happened in their lives, and I don't know if it's a metaphor, if it's I don't know what's happening, but either way, these characters, they have things happening to them. So one of them's turned inside out, apparently literally. This one girl has hair that grows if she lies. This one guy is building an invisible helicopter, and then the main character, Stanzi, it's a few different point of views, but she's the one that focuses on the most. She is hiding a secret in her lab coat that she never takes off. If that didn't confuse you, then this book is gonna confuse you, because it doesn't make any sense. And the only time it does make a little bit of sense is when the characters they finally admit to what has happened to them and stop doing what they're doing. I don't really know. They just kind of, I don't really understand this, and apparently a lot of A.S. King's writing is like this, so therefore I don't think I'm going to be a fan of A.S. King as an author, which is fine. You don't have to love every author, but I really hate it when I dislike an author, which is now. I don't think I'm going to ever read any of A.S. King's things. If you guys like this book, let me know what you thought of it, but I personally didn't like it, and that's why I rated it 1 out of 5 stars. And then the last book on my list is Strange Dreamer by Laini Taylor. I read this book via audiobook from Audible. I am not sponsored in any way, I just really like Audible. I didn't really like Strange Dreamer. It was alright. I rated it 3 out of 5 stars, which is what I rate everything basically. But I felt like it was very boring. I felt like nothing ever happened. And I felt like it was very predictable, except for one little thing at the end was a very big surprise for me, because it was predictable, but I was hoping it wouldn't be predictable, but then it was predictable, if that makes any sense. And you've read the book, you might know what I'm talking about. I'm going to do a spoiler discussion and review later on this week, next week on it, because I have a lot to think about it, to say about it, not think about it. And also the other thing that was in my mind the whole time, even though he looks nothing like this character, I kept picturing Laszlo as Milo from Atlantis, that movie, the Disney movie that like no one's ever seen apparently. But he looks nothing like that. That's just what I imagine. I don't know why. It's maybe because they're quite similar in how they are and they want to discover a lost city, aka Weep or Atlantis. Maybe that's what it was. Anyway, so yeah, I rated this one 3 out of 5 stars. I don't have a physical copy of it because I listened via audiobook. That was my audiobook for the month. I get one every month. Moving on, we are moving on to my TBR. I have 6 books on my TBR this month, which is less than last month because I had the whole selection series on my last month's one, and we'll just get right into it. First book on my list is Me, Earl and a Dying Girl, and it is basically about high school and people and a girl who's dying. And I tried to read this last month, but I didn't really like it that much. I only got like 30 pages in before I gave up. I didn't really like the format, but I'm gonna give it another shot because I hate DNFing books and people seem to really enjoy this. Maybe I'll watch the movie instead. Maybe that'll make me want to read it. I don't know. The next book on my list is And I Darken by Kirsten White. I'm not the biggest fan of her writing. However, when I first read Kirsten White's books, I was a lot younger, so I'm hoping that now that I'm a bit more grown up, but not really, I'm still quite young at heart, I will like her writing style, because this one's pretty hyped up in my opinion and people seem to really love it, but no one really loves her other stuff, so I hope I like this one. I don't know what it's about. I like going into books not knowing what's happening because that's the sort of person I am. One day I'll figure out how to do synopsises for books for you guys. The next book on my list is The Whole Thing Together by Anne Brashaws, I don't know. I talked about this book in my haul for the month, and it is basically about 2 girls who have been sharing the same bed their whole lives in the summer house, but their families are split apart, so they've never actually met, and as they grow older they become more curious about things, so they're going to meet eventually, I think. I'm excited to read this book, that's why I put it on my TBR, even though I had other books I should probably read instead. I just really want to read this, so I'm probably going to. The third book on my list, fourth book on my list, is Illuminae by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This is a science fiction book that I mentioned in my haul, and it is basically about an attack on a colony and all these interviews, classified files, ship drawings and stuff like that. It is like awesome. Like, this book looks super cool. This is on my list because I'm doing a buddy read this month with Eva. I will link her channel down below, I'm pretty sure she has a channel. My first buddy read, never done one before, but I'm kind of excited. We're doing 20 pages per day, but I'm 25 pages in, and today is the 1st of May. I know I'm recording this video early, but I don't have time to record videos on the day they're going up. Another book that I'm going to read this month is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. I'm actually currently reading it and I'm really enjoying it so far. I talked about it in my haul, and I talked about how it is an own voices book about a girl who experiences the murder of her best friend in front of her and how she deals with that, and I really like the idea of this whole book. It is something that I'm into, and I'm excited to finish it. I'm liking it so far. I kind of want to just read right now instead of record a video. I lied when I said I had 6 books on my list. I actually have 7, but this is the 6th book, and that is Nemesis by Brendan Reaches. I mentioned it in my haul as well. A lot of these books this month I am reading for my haul because that's why I bought them. I want to read them. And I'm excited to read this because it looks pretty cool. It is about a girl who is killed every 2 years on her birthday, and it is now her 16th birthday, and she's fearing being killed again. And then there's this other guy and he's having nightmares. And it just kind of seems really cool. I like the idea of it, I like what it says on the front, and I like the cover. And I kind of want to read this before my mum wants it back because she's going to want it back soon. And then the last book on my list is obviously A Quarter Wings and Ruin. I do not have the book right now because it is in the mail. I'm just really excited to read it. I love Sarah J Maas's writing, although I'm not the biggest fan of Game of Throne of Glass. It's because I don't think I've gotten into it as much as I'd like to, so I'm going to reread the series. But anyway, it's the last book on my thing, even though I'm probably going to read it before any of these other books, except for the ones I finish first. Yep. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know these are kind of long videos, but I'd rather have one whole video than having 2 videos up in a day. I don't know why, I just feel like it kind of crowds my feed and stuff like that. Anyway, I hope you guys like this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, tell me what books you're reading this month because I'd like to know if there's any books on your list that I'm interested in. I'll see you guys all next week for another video. Bye!